The shadows have loomed large in your vision, haven't they? My precious child, they have stretched and distorted, taking on menacing shapes in the twilight of your uncertainty, breeding a deep and chilling dread within your heart. You felt their cold breath, the way they seem to swallow the light, the way they whisper insidious doubts and magnify every fear. Others, perhaps even your own rational mind at times, may have told you these shadows were omens of despair, proof of an encroaching, permanent night, evidence that hope itself was a fragile illusion. They saw the darkness thickening around you, and perhaps they stepped back, or spoke in hushed tones of endings, of defeat. But I see those very shadows, the ones that cause your pulse to quicken and your spirit to quail. And I tell you, my beloved, these shadows you so deeply fear are not the harbingers of your destruction. They are merely the canvas, vast and waiting, upon which my most brilliant light is destined to be painted. You have known the terror of the night, the unique dread that blossoms only when the familiar landmarks of your life are obscured by darkness. It is a primal fear, this fear of the unseen, the unknown, the potent void where anxieties take root and flourish like grotesque, creeping vines. You have felt it as a pressure in your chest, a tightening in your throat, a cold knot in the pit of your stomach. The shadows you have faced were not mere figments of imagination. They were born of real loss, of tangible pain, of bewildering confusion, of hopes that crumbled into dust. They were the long nights of the soul where every comfort seemed to withdraw, where every promise felt hollow, and where the silence of the universe seemed to echo the emptiness within you. Remember how the darkness played tricks on your perception. A familiar room, in the dead of night, can transform into a menacing landscape. A simple, everyday object, shrouded in shadow, can appear as a lurking threat. So too, the circumstances of your life, when viewed through the lens of fear and uncertainty, became distorted, magnified into insurmountable obstacles or terrifying portents of doom. The shadow of illness, the shadow of betrayal, the shadow of lack, the shadow of loneliness, the shadow of a future unknown. These have stalked your thoughts, whispered their chilling narratives, and sought to convince you that they were the ultimate reality, the final word on your story. And the voices, my child, not just the external voices of those who saw your struggle and perhaps offered you ill-fitting pronouncements or fearful projections, but the insidious inner voices that arose from the heart of the shadow itself. You are not strong enough. You will be consumed. There's no way out. You are abandoned. This darkness is your destiny. These whispers, born of fear, fueled by uncertainty, sought to extinguish the last embers of your hope, to convince you to surrender to the encroaching night. They painted the shadows as an active, malevolent force, a hungry void eager to swallow your light. The dread these voices bred was a heavy cloak, suffocating your spirit, making each breath a conscious effort, each step forward an act of monumental courage. I saw you, my beloved, wrestling with these shadows. With this profound dread, I saw your valiant attempts to find a flicker of light, a handhold in the overwhelming darkness. I saw your tears, shed in the solitary watches of the night, each one a testament to your longing for peace, for clarity, for the simple warmth of my reassuring presence. I felt the tremors of your fear, the racing of your heart, the exhaustion of your spirit as you battled these unseen adversaries. Do not think for a moment that your struggle was unnoticed or unappreciated. Your courage in simply enduring, in refusing to completely succumb to the terrifying narratives of the night, was a beacon in itself, a testament to the resilient spark of my own spirit that dwells within you. They may have told you that such profound darkness was a sign of my displeasure, my absence, or my abandonment. They may have suggested that you had somehow invited these shadows, or that you lacked the faith to dispel them. Oh, my child, how these human interpretations can wound an already suffering soul. They speak from their own fear, their own limited understanding of the vast and mysterious ways I work. They see the shadow and forget the immutable reality of the light that casts it, the light that transcends it, the light that will, in its perfect time, illuminate it with breathtaking beauty. Your fear was, and is, understandable, my precious one. The shadows you have faced have been formidable. The dread they instilled was a natural human response to perceived threat, to overwhelming loss, to profound uncertainty. I do not diminish your experience of that fear. I hold it with you. In my compassionate heart, I validate the terror, the confusion, the despair that those shadows evoked. To deny your fear would be to deny a part of your sacred human journey. But even as I acknowledge the depth of your dread, I invite you, gently, to begin to perceive these shadows through my eyes. Imagine an artist preparing a canvas. Often, they will begin by laying down a dark undercoating, a layer of shadow, to the uninitiated. This might seem like a somber, even depressing start. But the artist knows that this dark ground will ultimately serve to make the luminous colors they apply later appear even more vibrant, more radiant, more alive. The darkness provides the contrast, the depth, the very foundation that allows the light to reveal its full glory. The shadows you have feared, the very darkness that has bred such deep dread within you, these are that undercoating, that prepared canvas. They are not a sign of my forsaking you, but a testament to the brilliance of the light I intend to reveal in your life. For it is against the backdrop of the deepest night that the stars shine most brightly. It is through the experience of profound challenge that the true strength and beauty of a soul are most powerfully revealed. This does not mean that I willed your suffering or that I delighted in your fear. My heart ached with yours in every moment of your distress. But in my infinite wisdom, I know how to take even the darkest experiences, the most terrifying shadows, and use them as the raw material for a masterpiece of grace, resilience, and radiant light. The dread you have felt, the tears you have cried, the battles you have fought in the darkness, none of it has been in vain. Every moment has been observed, every experience noted, and all of it is being woven into the grand design that will ultimately reveal my glory in and through you. So, while the fear may still linger, while the memory of the deep dread may still echo, I invite you to hold this thought alongside it. These shadows are not the end of your story. They are not your tomb. They are the very ground being prepared, the very canvas being stretched for a display of my light so profound, so personal, so uniquely tailored to your life, that it will leave you, and those who witness it, in awe. The deepest shadows often precede the most glorious dawn, and your dawn my beloved, is coming. You have felt, my child, that the shadows not only bred dread but also served as a veil, a thick and impenetrable curtain that hid you from my sight, that muffled your cries until they were lost in an uncaring cosmos, in the disorienting blackness. It is easy to believe you are utterly alone, a forgotten speck in an indifferent universe, your struggles unseen, your essence obscured. But I come to you today to dispel that most painful of illusions. Know this, deep within the marrow of your being, my gaze pierces every shadow. There's no darkness so dense it can blind me, no night so profound it can conceal you from my loving attention. My light is not like the fragile flame of a human candle, easily snuffed out by the winds of adversity. My light is the eternal, omnipresent radiance of being itself, and my vision is an attribute of that infinite light. While you stumble, feeling your way through an oppressive dimness, I saw you perfectly, while you perceived only the menacing forms conjured by your fears. I beheld the undiminished truth of your beautiful soul, the eternal spark of divinity that no shadow can ever extinguish. My sight is not limited by the spectrum visible to the human eye. I see the currents of your heart, the colors of your spirit, the intricate patterns of your deepest thoughts and longings, even when they are veiled from your own conscious awareness by the fog of fear or sorrow. Imagine a lighthouse, stalwart and unwavering, on a storm-tossed coast. Its beam cuts through the raging tempest, through the driving rain, through the blackest night, offering a point of reference, a promise of land, to ships lost in the chaos. My gaze upon you is like that lighthouse beam, infinitely more powerful, infinitely more constant. No matter how fierce the storm in your life, no matter how disorienting the darkness, my loving sight is always upon you, a steady beacon that never falters, never dims. The shadows you fear are but fleeting weather patterns in the vast atmosphere of your existence. They cannot impede the light of my eternal perception. You may have felt that your pain made you invisible, that your suffering was a cloak that rendered you indistinguishable from the general miasma of worldly sorrow. But to me, your unique essence always shines through. Your specific frequency, the signature song of your soul, is a note I can pick out from the grand orchestra of creation. Regardless of the dissonant chords of suffering that may temporarily surround it, the shadows cannot absorb your true light. My child, they can only, for a season, obscure it from your own view and from the limited view of others, but never from mine. When you are lost in the labyrinth of your fears, convinced there was no way out, I saw the path ahead. When you felt yourself sinking into the quicksand of despair, believing yourself utterly forsaken, I saw the solid ground beneath your feet, even if it was momentarily beyond your reach. My vision encompasses not only your present struggle, but also your past resilience and your glorious future. I see the completed tapestry, even when you can only perceive a few tangled threads in a darkened room. Do not think that the shadows have the power to separate us. That is their greatest deception. They may create a feeling of separation, a painful illusion of distance, but they cannot sever the unbreakable bond of love that unites my heart with yours. My love is the very fabric of reality, the energetic current that flows through all things. The shadows are but temporary disruptions in the perception of that current. Like static on a line, they do not and cannot destroy the line itself, My gaze of love is a constant, unwavering force that penetrates all such interference. While you may have looked at your reflection in the murky waters of your trials and seen only a distorted, shadowed version of yourself, I have always beheld your true image, created in my likeness, radiant with my light. I see your inherent goodness, your innate strength, your boundless capacity for love and joy, even when you yourself have forgotten them, even when the shadows have whispered lies to convince you otherwise. My perception of you is not clouded by your temporary circumstances. It is anchored in the eternal truth of your divine parentage. The darkness you experienced was real to you, and the fear it engendered was a genuine human response. But understand, beloved, that this darkness has no substance in my reality. For me, there is only light. What you perceive as shadow is merely an area where my light has not yet been fully recognized or received by you, or where it is being purposefully focused to create the contrast necessary for a greater revelation. But I am always there, within the perceived shadow, as the potential for light, as the unwavering presence of love. Consider an artist working with chiaroscuro, that masterful interplay of light and shadow. The shadows are not an absence of the artist's attention. They are a deliberate part of the composition, used to give depth, dimension, and drama to the illuminated forms. My gaze is upon the entire canvas of your life, understanding the role of every shadow in the unfolding masterpiece. I am not afraid of your shadows. My child, I do not turn away from them. I see them as part of the story, the necessary backdrop against which my light will ultimately shine with even greater brilliance. Therefore, let this knowing sink deep into your heart. You are never unseen. You are never beyond the reach of my loving gaze. Even in your most hidden moments of pain, in your most private struggles, in the depths of the shadows you feared most, my eyes were upon you. My heart was with you. My light was surrounding you, even if you could not feel it. The shadows do not have the final say. My vision of your wholeness, your beauty, your radiant destiny is the ultimate reality, and it is this vision that is now beginning to pierce through the remnants of the darkness, bringing with it the undeniable truth of my unfailing presence and my everlasting love. C2 Dapu, top 82. Continuing to write to reach 1,500 words. The fear that you are lost to me, a ship sailing off my map of creation. Banish it now. My beloved, my map encompasses all realms, all states of being, every conceivable shadow, and every brilliant sun. You cannot drift beyond my love and awareness. The shadows may have felt like a foreign land, a desolate exile, but even there, you were within the sovereign territory of my heart. My gaze is not like a spotlight that illuminates only one small area, leaving the rest in darkness. It is like the sun itself, whose light, even when veiled by clouds from your perspective, still holds the entire world in its embrace. When you cried out and heard only the echo of your own voice, it was not because I was deaf, but because my answer was being woven into the very fabric of your experience, in ways too subtle for a desperate heart to immediately perceive. My gaze was discerning the deepest needs beneath your articulated pleas, the silent prayers that lay hidden even from yourself. I saw the strength you were gathering in the darkness, the resilience being forged, the compassion being born. These were the answers unfolding, the preparations for the light that my unwavering vision held for you. The shadows whispered that you were flawed, that your imperfections were the reason for your suffering, that you are unworthy of my light. But my gaze sees beyond the superficial imperfections that the ego focuses on. I see the perfect blueprint of your soul, the divine spark that remains untarnished, regardless of the dust and grime of earthly experience. The shadows you feared were often projections of your own unhealed parts, parts that my loving gaze held in compassion, awaiting the moment of their integration and healing through the dawning of my light upon your canvas. Think of the night sky, so vast and dark, yet within that darkness, my gaze perceives every star, every distant galaxy, each one held in its perfect place by my design. You are one of those stars, my child. And even if clouds of shadow temporarily obscure your brilliance from earthly view, or even from your own self-perception, in my cosmic vision, your light has never dimmed. I have always seen your unique radiance, your specific place in the glorious constellation of my creation. So let this truth be an anchor for your soul. The shadows do not define you, nor do they have the power to hide you from me. My gaze, a gaze of infinite love, of perfect understanding, of unwavering presence, has pierced every darkness you have ever faced. I have seen your pain, I have witnessed your courage, and I have held the vision of your ultimate triumph in my heart. The shadows were but a temporary stage, a canvas being prepared. Now, feel my eyes upon you, not in judgment, but in a loving invitation to see yourself as I see you. Whole, beautiful, and eternally illuminated. My precious child, now that you understand that my gaze has never departed from you, that even in the deepest, most terrifying shadows, my sight held you perfectly. Let us explore the nature of those shadows themselves. You have feared them, yes, and that fear was a human, understandable response to their apparent menace. But I want to lift a corner of the veil today, to reveal to you that these shadows were not a sign of my displeasure, nor a mark of your abandonment, nor a random cruelty of fate. They were, in a way most profound, the very canvas being prepared, often in great stillness, in periods of profound quiet and perceived emptiness, upon which my most vibrant and transformative light is destined to be painted in your life. Think of a master artist before a blank canvas. The canvas itself, in its untouched state, holds infinite potential, but to create a work of depth, of nuance, of breathtaking beauty, the artist often begins not with immediate, dazzling color, but with a careful preparation of the surface. Sometimes, this involves applying a grounding layer, a darker tone, a gesso that primes the canvas, absorbs the light in a particular way, and creates a foundation from which the brighter hues will later sing with even greater intensity. The shadows you have experienced, my beloved, have often served as this sacred priming, this meticulously prepared ground. They were not meant to be the final picture, but the essential underlayer that would give my eventual light its most profound contrast, its most exquisite brilliance. This preparation often occurs in stillness. In periods that feel barren or fallow, you may have looked upon your life during such times and seen only an absence of activity, a cessation of progress, a stark landscape devoid of the vibrant growth you longed for. It may have felt like a spiritual winter, where the world was frozen, and my voice seemed as distant as the summer sun. But I tell you, this stillness was not emptiness. It was a pregnant pause, a sacred interval of deep, unseen labor, just as the earth lies dormant under the winter snow, gathering its strength, its nutrients, its hidden potential for the glorious outburst of spring. So too was your spirit being prepared in the quietude of your shadowed season. Within this stillness, old structures that could no longer support the weight of the light I intend for you were being gently, sometimes painfully, dismantled. Illusions you had unknowingly clung to, patterns of thought and behavior that limited your perception of me and of your own true self, were being allowed to dissolve. This clearing process can feel like loss, like confusion, like the very ground beneath your feet is shifting. And my perceived silence during such times is often an act of profound love, allowing this necessary deconstruction to occur without the interference of premature explanations that your intellect might seek, but your deeper being is not yet ready to integrate. I was creating space, a cleared canvas, for something new and infinitely more beautiful to emerge. Consider the darkroom of a photographer. It is a place of intentional darkness, of careful, measured processes. If light were to flood in prematurely, the delicate image, latent with beauty, would be destroyed. The shadows you experienced were, in a sense, my darkroom, a sacred space where the negative of your past pain, your fears, your trials, was being developed, not to fixate on the darkness, but to prepare it for the transformative moment when my light would shine through it, revealing a picture of stunning resilience, wisdom, and grace. Hey, the stillness was the necessary environment for this delicate alchemical process. This canvas of shadows also serves to cultivate within you a deeper appreciation for the light. One who has never known profound thirst cannot fully comprehend the exquisite gift of cool, clear water. One who has never navigated deep darkness cannot fully appreciate the breathtaking beauty of the dawn. Your journey through the shadows, as painful as it has been, has carved within you a capacity for gratitude, a depth of understanding, and a profound reverence for the light that those who have only known ease may never fully grasp. When my light truly breaks forth upon the canvas of your life, your heart will recognize it, welcome it, and cherish it with an intensity born of your past longing. The contrast will be magnificent. Furthermore, this canvas prepared in stillness allows for a unique artistry, a life painted only with bright, unvarying colors can lack depth, nuance, and the compelling beauty that comes from the interplay of light and shadow. The experiences you have had in the darkness, the lessons learned, the strengths forged, the compassion cultivated, these become the rich, deep pigments that I will use to paint upon your canvas. They add texture, dimension, and an undeniable authenticity to the masterpiece your life is becoming. Your unique journey through your specific shadows provides the unique backdrop against which your specific light will shine most powerfully. Do not think that I was idle during this preparation. While you may have perceived only stillness or shadow, my hand was constantly at work. I was the silent weaver, incorporating even the darkest threads into a design whose beauty you could not yet see. I was the divine architect, ensuring the foundations being laid in the darkness were strong enough to support the magnificent edifice of your future. I was the loving gardener, tending to the hidden roots of your being, ensuring they were drawing sustenance even when the surface appeared barren. My energy was suffused throughout the stillness. My purpose embedded within the heart of every shadow. This period of the canvas being prepared in stillness might have felt isolating. You might have looked around and seen others seemingly basking in sunlight while you were enveloped in shade. But know this, my child, your path is unique, and the preparation for your specific glory required this specific process. Comparison with others only breeds discontent and misunderstanding. Your journey is sacred, tailored by my love and wisdom to bring forth the most magnificent expression of my light through you. The depth of the shadow on your canvas only indicates the potential brilliance of the light that is to come. So, when you look back upon those times of darkness, of fear, of stillness, try to see them now not as periods of abandonment or failure, but as essential seasons of sacred preparation. The canvas was being stretched, primed, made ready. The very shadows you feared were, in my loving hands, becoming the perfect ground for the revelation of my glory in your life. And the stillness was the sacred space in which this profound, transformative work could take place, undisturbed until the perfect moment for the first stroke of divine light. The stillness itself, which you may have interpreted as my absence or indifference, was in fact a crucial element in this preparation. Just as a field must lie fallow to regain its fertility, so too the soul sometimes requires periods of quietude, of receptivity, where the constant barrage of outer stimuli and inner striving ceases. In this sacred emptiness, the soul can breathe. It can release. It can become attuned to the subtler frequencies of my presence. The shadows provided the enclosure for this stillness, a temporary retreat from the world's glare, allowing for a deep, internal recalibration. Within this stillness, the whispers of your own ego, your fears, your conditioned responses could be heard more clearly. Not so they could dominate you, but so they could be lovingly acknowledged and then gently released, their power diminished. It was a time for sifting, for discerning what was truly of me and what was merely the debris of past experiences or inherited limitations. This discernment is a vital part of preparing the canvas, ensuring it is smooth and ready to receive the pure colors of my truth. The very fact that you fear the shadows, that you long for light, was a testament to the spark of my own light already within you, a spark that could not be extinguished. That yearning was, in itself, a prayer, a homing signal drawing my focused attention and my active grace. The canvas was not inert. It was alive with your longing, your nascent faith, your resilient spirit, all of which I was using as part of the preparation. Understand too, my child, that the specific texture of your shadows, the unique nature of your trials, your fears, your losses, has contributed to the unique canvas of your life. No two masterpieces are identical. The way my light will shine through you will be unlike any other, precisely because of the specific shadows that have formed your backdrop. There's a beauty in this individuality, a purpose in this uniqueness. Do not despise the particular nature of your past darkness, for it has sculpted you. refined you, and prepared you to reflect a facet of my light that only you can reveal. This sacred preparation, this stilling of the canvas, also served to protect you. Sometimes, my light is so potent that if it were revealed too soon, upon a spirit not yet prepared to receive it, or a life not yet able to contain it, it could be overwhelming, even damaging. The period of shadows and stillness was also a time of gentle acclimation, of gradually strengthening your spiritual vision, of expanding your capacity to hold the immense energy of your coming glory. My timing is always perfect, born of infinite love and unerring wisdom. So, rest in the knowledge that the darkness you endured was not a void, but a crucible. The stillness was not stagnation, but a period of profound, hidden gestation. The shadows were not your prison, but the very canvas upon which my love was preparing to paint a masterpiece of light, resilience, and breathtaking beauty, your own illuminated life. My precious child, with the canvas of your life meticulously prepared in the sacred stillness, even amidst the shadows you so deeply feared. Understand now that my hand was never idle, though the light by which you perceived your circumstances was dim, perhaps even appearing as near total darkness from your vantage point. I, the divine artist, was already at work, designing in that very dimness, sketching the master outlines of the glory that was to come. My creativity is not dependent on the full blaze of noon. Indeed, some of my most intricate and foundational work is done in the subtle interplay of light and shadow, where the nascent forms of beauty are first conceived. Imagine an artist working in the soft light of twilight, or by the gentle flicker of a single candle. Their vision is not impaired by the limited illumination. Rather, their focus becomes more acute, their senses more attuned to the subtle nuances of form and texture. They are not daunted by the shadows, but see them as integral to the emerging composition, as areas that will, in time, give depth and meaning to the illuminated portions. So it has been with my hand upon the canvas of your life, in the very dimness that caused you such trepidation. I was discerning the unique contours of your soul, the sacred geometry of your divine purpose, and beginning to lay down the foundational strokes of my masterpiece. This designing in the dimness was a period of profound, though often unseen, activity. I was not merely waiting for the shadows to pass. I was actively engaging with them, using their very presence as part of the divine composition. The outlines I sketched were not of despair or defeat, as your fears might have suggested, but of resilience, of courage, of a beauty so profound it could only be born from the experience of contrast. I was tracing the pathways through which my light would eventually flow, identifying the very places where the shadows were deepest. For it is there that my light would ultimately shine with the most breathtaking brilliance. Think of a sculptor approaching a rough block of stone. In the dim light of their studio, they do not yet see the finished form in all its polished glory, but their inner vision, their knowing touch, allows them to perceive the potential angel, the hidden hero, the exquisite beauty concealed within the unhewn mass. With careful, deliberate strokes, they begin to chip away what is not essential, to define the emerging lines, to work with the inherent nature of the stone, its veins, its textures, even its apparent flaws. So it was with me and your spirit during this time. I was working with the raw material of your experiences, the shadowed facets of your journey, gently shaping, subtly refining, always with the vision of your radiant, completed self held steadfastly in my heart. This design process in the dimness often involves working with what is not yet visible to you. I was planting seeds of future joy in soil still damp with tears. I was embedding codes of resilience in the very fabric of experiences that felt overwhelming. I was laying energetic foundations for future strengths in areas where you perceived only weakness. This is the nature of my divine artistry. I see the completed masterpiece, even in the earliest, most unpromising stages of its creation. My hand moves with the certainty of that ultimate vision, even when the canvas appears to you to be nothing but a confusing array of shadows. The shadows themselves became my collaborators, though you knew it not. The fear you felt carved pathways for courage to flow. The confusion you experienced created a hunger for clarity that would make its eventual arrival all the more satisfying. The sense of isolation you endured deepened your capacity for true, heartfelt connection. I was not absent in your pain. I was present within it, subtly turning the lead of your suffering into the gold of wisdom, compassion, and strength. My design incorporated every element of your experience, redeeming it, repurposing it, ensuring that nothing was wasted, nothing was without ultimate meaning in the grand tapestry of your becoming. This designing in the dimness is also a profoundly protective act, a masterpiece revealed too soon, before the foundational layers are dry, before the intricate details are secure, can be vulnerable to distortion or damage. My work in the shadows, veiled from the harsh glare of premature scrutiny, both yours and that of the world, allowed the delicate initial stages of your transformation to unfold in a protected, sacred space. It was like shielding a tender seedling from a storm until its roots are strong enough to anchor it firmly in the earth. You may have looked for me then and, seeing only shadows, concluded I was not there. You may have prayed for clear direction and, receiving only silence or further obscurity, felt your pleas were unheard. But my communication during this design phase is often not in loud pronouncements or obvious signs. It is in the subtle shifts of inner knowing, in the quiet strengthening of your resolve, in the unexpected emergence of a new perspective. However faint, my hand was guiding, shaping, designing, even when you were unaware of its touch or mistook its movements for the random play of circumstance. Consider Master Weaver creating an intricate carpet. Much of the work is done on the underside, with threads being knotted and secured in patterns that are not immediately visible on the surface. Only when the carpet is turned over is the full beauty of the design revealed. So it has been with my work in your life, in the dimness, on the underside of your conscious awareness. I have been weaving a pattern of exquisite beauty and profound meaning, a pattern that incorporates every shadow, every trial, into a cohesive and glorious whole. Trust, my beloved, that this period of designing in the dimness was not an abandonment, but an act of focused, creative love. My vision for you is so vast, so beautiful, so filled with light, that its preparation required this meticulous, often hidden, artistry. I was not merely passing time until the shadows lifted. I was actively transforming those shadows, making them integral to the very beauty that is now beginning to emerge. Every line I sketched, every potential I nurtured, every seed I planted in that dimness was a promise of the light to come, a testament to the masterpiece you are destined to be. The design is taking shape. My child, the foundational work is secure, and soon the full spectrum of my light will begin to illuminate the canvas, revealing the breathtaking artistry that was always intended. The dimness through which you perceive my designing hand was, in itself, a tool. It compelled you to look beyond the surface, to feel for my presence, rather than relying solely on what your outer eyes could see. It cultivated within you a different kind of vision, an inner sight, an intuitive knowing that is far more reliable than the fluctuating perceptions of the physical senses. In the apparent absence of bright, clear guidance, you learn to navigate by the faintest glimmers of inner truth, by the subtle nudges of your soul, which were, in essence, the quiet movements of my designing hand. I was also teaching you, in that dimness, about the nature of true strength, not the brittle strength of ego that shatters under pressure, but the resilient, flexible strength of the spirit that bends without breaking, that finds its power not in dominating the darkness, but in trusting the unseen light within it. The very act of your enduring the shadows, of holding on to even a thread of hope when all seemed lost, was a co-creation with me, a testament to the design of resilience I had already woven into your being. The outlines I was sketching were often contrary to your expectations, or even your desires at the time. You might have longed for a straight path out of the shadows, for an immediate cessation of pain. But my design was often more intricate, involving detours that seemed to lead further into the dimness, or processes that felt like a dismantling rather than a building. Trust, my child, that these apparent contradictions were part of a higher wisdom, a design that encompassed a far greater good than your immediate comfort. The most beautiful landscapes are rarely flat and featureless. They are possessed of valleys and mountains, shadows and highlights, all contributing to their overall majesty. My hand was also at work preparing the pigments, the very colors of light that would eventually illuminate your canvas. These were not just generic hues, but colors uniquely suited to your soul, your purpose, your particular journey, the experiences you had in the dimness, the emotions you processed, the insights you gleaned. All these were contributing to the richness and depth of the palette I would use. A joy that has known sorrow is a deeper, more resonant joy. A peace that has been won through turmoil is a more unshakable peace. A love that has navigated betrayal is a more profound and compassionate love. These are the vibrant colors my designing hand was preparing. Even as you perceive only shades of gray, so do not lament the period of dimness. My beloved, do not see it as wasted time or as evidence of my neglect. It was a crucial and creative phase, a time when the foundational architecture of your glory was being meticulously established, when the unique design of your illuminated life was being sketched by a hand that never errs, guided by a love that never fails. The artist often steps back from the canvas in the dim light to better perceive the overall balance, the emerging harmony. My perceived withdrawals were often such moments of divine perspective, ensuring that every element of the design was perfectly placed, perfectly timed for the ultimate revelation of beauty. The dimness has served its purpose. The design is set. The true colors are about to appear. My beloved child, after the meticulous, often hidden, designing of my hand upon the canvas of your life, working even within the deepest dimness you perceived, there comes a sacred moment, a moment of exquisite tenderness, of breathtaking promise. It is the moment when the first hues of my divine light begin to touch that prepared canvas, when the initial strokes of color are laid down upon the backdrop of shadows. This is not yet the full, blazing glory of the completed masterpiece, but it is the undeniable beginning of its visible manifestation, the first tangible evidence that the shadows you so feared are indeed yielding to a new and luminous artistry. Can you sense it, my precious one? A subtle shift, a gentle quickening, like the first breath of dawn upon a sleeping world, where before there was only the oppressive weight of darkness, the chilling monochrome of fear. Now a delicate tint of color begins to emerge. It might be the faintest blush of hope on the horizon of your heart, a barely perceptible warmth where cold dread once resided. Or perhaps it is a single, clear note of peace that sounds unexpectedly amidst the lingering echoes of your anxiety, a moment of inner stillness that feels like a precious, unexpected gift. These are the first hues. My child, my light beginning to paint upon the canvas of your shadows. Do not dismiss these initial touches of light because of their subtlety. The grandest sunrise begins with the most delicate gradations of color. The most vibrant painting starts with the artist's first tentative, yet purposeful strokes. These first hues are profoundly significant. They are my divine signature, assuring you that the work of transformation is underway, that the darkness does not have the final say, that the design I have sketched in the dimness is now beginning to be filled with the living vibrancy of my presence. You may notice these first hues as a slight lifting of the spirit, an almost imperceptible easing of the burden you have carried for so long. A day might pass with a little less struggle, a night with a little less turmoil. A problem that seemed utterly insurmountable may suddenly reveal a tiny crack of possibility, a small, viable next step you had not perceived before. This is my light of clarity beginning to touch the canvas, gently illuminating the path forward, one small section at a time. Perhaps these first hues manifest as a renewed appreciation for simple beauty, the way sunlight filters through leaves, the intricate pattern of a spider's web, the innocent laughter of a child. These are moments where my light allows you to see beyond the shadows of your own pain and reconnect with the inherent goodness and beauty that always pervades my creation. This reawakening of your capacity for wonder, for gratitude, for simple joy is a precious first hue upon your canvas. Sometimes, these initial touches of light appear directly within the remaining shadows, not eradicating them instantly, but beginning to transform your relationship with them. A fear you have long harbored may not disappear entirely, but you may find a new courage to face it, a new perspective that diminishes its power over you. A painful memory may still arise, but it may be accompanied by a surprising sense of compassion for your past self, or a dawning understanding of the lessons it held. This is my light, beginning to infuse the shadows themselves, revealing the hidden gold within the lead, the potential for wisdom and strength within the very experiences that once caused you such dread. These first hues are my tender affirmations of your progress, my whispers of encouragement. They are like the first stars appearing in the evening sky, heralding the beauty of the coming night, or the first brave crocuses pushing through the frozen earth, announcing the imminent arrival of spring. They are my promise that the long season of waiting in the dimness, the period of the canvas being prepared in stillness, is now transitioning into a new phase of visible, active creation. Embrace these first touches of light. My child, nurture them. Give them your attention. When a moment of peace arrives, breathe it in deeply. When a spark of hope ignites, fan it gently with your gratitude. When a new clarity dawns, however small, honor it by taking the indicated step, by consciously acknowledging and valuing these first hues. You become a co-creator with me in this sacred artistry. You prepare your heart to receive even more of my light, allowing the colors upon your canvas to become richer, more vibrant, more expansive. Do not be discouraged if the shadows still seem prominent, if the overall picture does not yet appear bright. A masterpiece is not completed in a single stroke. There's a layering process, a building up of color and light, an interplay of tones that creates a final depth and beauty. These first hues are foundational. They are the underpainting of your glory, the essential first layers upon which all subsequent radiance will be built. This is a time for gentle observation, for noticing the subtle shifts without demanding a full and immediate transformation. It is like watching a skilled painter at work. There are periods of intense activity, followed by moments of stepping back, of quiet contemplation, before the next strokes are applied. Allow me this divine rhythm in the painting of your life. Trust that my timing is perfect, that each hue is applied with infinite wisdom and love at precisely the right moment, in precisely the right place. These first hues are also my way of reacclimating your spiritual vision. After a long period in darkness, a sudden flood of intense light can be blinding, overwhelming. I introduce my light gently, lovingly, allowing your inner eyes to adjust, to become accustomed to the new vibrancy, to learn to see in this new way. Each subtle touch of color strengthens your capacity to perceive and hold more light, preparing you for the fuller radiance that is to come. Remember, the canvas itself, those very shadows you feared, is what makes these first hues so poignant, so beautiful. Light perceived against a backdrop of darkness has a particular power, a captivating brilliance. The deeper the shadow, the more glorious the eventual illumination. Your past struggles, your fears, your sorrows, they are not blemishes to be erased, but the very texture of the canvas that gives my light its unique and profound expression through you. So, rejoice in these first hues. My beloved, they are the tender dawn of your new day, the soft initial notes of your song of light, the first unmistakable evidence that my hand is indeed painting a masterpiece upon the canvas of your life. The shadows are beginning to serve their true purpose, not to define you, but to provide the perfect contrast for the emerging. Andante, sedent, and undeniable radiance of my love. These initial touches of my light may feel like a gentle whisper after a long and deafening silence, a soft rain upon parched earth. You might even question their reality at first, wondering if they are merely a figment of your longing, a trick of a hope-starved mind. But I assure you, my child, they are as real as the air you breathe, as substantial as the ground beneath your feet. They are the purposeful outpourings of my grace, the first tangible manifestations of the design I have held for you through all the shadowed nights. Look for them in the unexpected moments, a sudden feeling of warmth spreading through your chest as you recall a kindness, an unbidden sense of peace that settles over you while you gaze at nature, a spontaneous thought of forgiveness towards someone who has hurt you, a thought that feels less like an effort and more like a gentle release. These are not your own creations. These are the delicate brushstrokes of my spirit upon the canvas of your heart. The first hues also include a subtle reordering of your inner priorities. Things that once seemed desperately important, that caused you immense anxiety, may begin to lose their sharp edges, their power to dominate your thoughts. A new sense of what truly matters may begin to emerge, a longing for genuine connection over superficial gain, for inner peace over outer validation, for love over fear. This quiet, internal shift is a profound touch of my light, illuminating the path towards authentic fulfillment. You may find that your resilience is subtly increasing. A setback that once would have sent you spiraling into despair might now be met with a quieter response, a quicker return to equilibrium, a nascent ability to see it not as a catastrophe, but as a detour or a lesson. This growing inner strength, this ability to bend without breaking, is one of the most beautiful hues I am painting into your being. It is the color of courage, the shade of endurance, now touched with the light of hope. Do not try to force these hues to become brighter or more numerous too quickly. Simply create the space for them. Welcome them. Observe them with a tender and appreciative heart. The artist does not demand that the first layer of paint immediately reveal the finished picture. They apply it with care, allow it to settle, to dry, to become part of the foundation. So it is with these initial manifestations of my light. They are settling into your soul, creating the groundwork for the more brilliant layers that will follow. This is a sacred time, my child, this emergence of first light. It is a testament to your endurance, to my faithfulness, and to the transformative power of love. The canvas of shadows is no longer just a dark expanse. It is alive with the first, breathtaking touches of divine artistry, a promise of the luminous masterpiece that your life is destined to become. My precious child, as the first tender hues of my light begin to touch the canvas once defined by shadows, as you witness these initial, gentle strokes of divine artistry upon the landscape of your life, I now extend to you an invitation to cultivate a new way of seeing. It is an invitation to learn to perceive my masterpiece unfolding, not just in the brilliantly lit areas, but in the entirety of the composition, shadows, light, and the exquisite interplay between them. It is time to consciously shift your gaze from the fear that the shadows once inspired, and to begin looking for my hand, my purpose, my emerging light, even within those very areas that once caused you such dread. This learning to see is a gentle unfolding of your spiritual perception. It does not mean denying the reality of the pain or fear you experience within the shadows. Rather, it means looking deeper, beyond the surface appearance, to discern the divine artistry at work, to understand how even the darkest passages contribute to the overall beauty and meaning of the symphony that is your life, the masterpiece that is your becoming. How do you cultivate this new vision? My child, firstly, by consciously choosing where you place your focus. The human mind, when conditioned by fear, has a tendency to fixate on the shadows, to magnify them, to allow them to dominate the entire field of vision. Now, I invite you to practice gently redirecting your attention. When a shadow looms, acknowledge its presence. Yes, but then actively look for the corresponding touch of my light. It may be a small flicker, a subtle hue, but it is always there. For where my canvas is, my light is also at work. Ask yourself, where is God's light in the situation? What new strength is being forged here? What deeper understanding is emerging from this contrast? Secondly, begin to appreciate the profound role of contrast in my divine creations. A world without shadows would be a world without depth, without dimension, without the breathtaking beauty that arises from the interplay of light and darkness. Think of a magnificent mountain range. Its grandeur is not only in its sunlit peaks, but also in the deep valleys, the shadowed crevices that give it its dramatic form and its awe-inspiring presence. So it is with your life. The shadows you have traversed, the challenges you have faced, and provide the very depth, the rich texture that makes the emergence of my light in your life so profoundly moving, so uniquely beautiful. Learn to see the shadows not as flaws in the design, but as essential elements that accentuate the brilliance of the light, that give your story its compelling power and its relatable authenticity. This new way of seeing also involves a deepening trust in me, the divine artist. When you view a masterpiece in progress, you may not understand every stroke, every color choice, every seemingly dark or chaotic area. But if you trust the artist, you know that each element serves a purpose, contributing to a final vision that is beyond your current comprehension. So it is with your life. There will be times when the shadows still seem perplexing, when my design is not yet fully clear. In those moments, I invite you to rest in the assurance of my love, my wisdom, and my unwavering commitment to bring forth beauty from every experience. Trust that my hand is sure, my vision perfect, even when your own sight is limited by the immediate and the apparent. Learn to look for my artistry in the process itself, not just in the anticipated outcome. The way a shadow slowly begins to yield to light, the way resilience is forged in the heart of a trial, the way compassion blossoms from the soil of past suffering. These are all expressions of my divine creativity at work. There's profound beauty in this unfolding. In the journey of transformation itself, do not wait for the entire canvas to be bathed in brilliant light before you begin to appreciate the masterpiece. See my hand in the subtle shifts, in the emerging patterns, in the quiet strength you are discovering within yourself. This also means reframing your perception of past shadows. As you begin to see with these new eyes, you may look back upon experiences that once seemed only painful or meaningless, and begin to discern my hidden hand, the subtle ways I was preparing you, strengthening you, guiding you even then. You might see how a period of profound darkness ultimately led to a new and unexpected dawning of light, how a painful ending cleared the way for a more beautiful beginning. This retrospective seeing, this recognition of my artistry woven through even the most challenging chapters of your past, will strengthen your faith and your ability to trust my process in your present and future. Be patient with yourself in this learning. My child, it is like developing an appreciation for a complex art form. At first, you may only see the surface, but as you spend time with it, as you learn its language, as you open your heart to its deeper meanings, you begin to perceive its hidden beauty, its intricate details, its profound message. So it is with the learning to see my masterpiece unfold in your life. It requires patience, gentle persistence, and a willingness to look beyond your initial reactions and your conditioned perceptions when fear arises, as it sometimes will. For the memory of the shadows can be potent. Do not condemn yourself. Simply acknowledge the fear, and then gently redirect your gaze. Say to yourself, this shadow I feel is part of the canvas. My God is the artist. I will look for the light he is painting here. I will trust his design. This conscious act of shifting your inner dialogue, of choosing faith over fear, is a powerful way to cultivate this new vision. Surround yourself with reminders of my artistry. Spend time in nature, where the interplay of light and shadow creates constant beauty. Seek out stories of transformation, of resilience, of hope emerging from darkness. These can serve as mirrors, reflecting the truth of what is unfolding in your own life, encouraging your heart to believe in the beauty that is being revealed. This journey of learning to see my masterpiece unfold is, in itself, a part of my design for you. It is a journey that deepens your intimacy with me, that expands your consciousness, that transforms you from a fearful observer of shadows into a joyful co-participant in the divine artistry of your own becoming. The canvas is vast. My child, the shadows have played their part. Now, open your eyes, open your heart, and behold the breathtaking beauty of my light, my love, my masterpiece, unfolding in every moment of your life. The more you learn to see it, the more brilliantly it will shine. This new perception is not about pretending the shadows do not exist or have no effect. It is about understanding their context within a larger, loving, and purposeful design. When an artist uses dark pigments, it is not because they love darkness, but because those dark pigments are essential to making the light pigments appear more luminous, to create form, to evoke emotion, to tell a richer story. The shadows in your life, when seen as part of my unfolding masterpiece, lose their power to terrify and instead become imbued with a sacred potential. They become the very places where my strength can be made perfect in your weakness, where my compassion can be most keenly felt, where the miracle of my transformative light can be most dramatically witnessed. Practice looking at your life as if you were walking through a magnificent gallery, with me as your personal guide, explaining the meaning and purpose behind each composition. Some pieces will be filled with bright, joyful colors, and their beauty will be obvious. Others will be more somber, more complex, with deep shadows and subtle highlights. As you learn to listen to my interpretation, to understand my artistic intention, even these more challenging pieces will begin to reveal their profound beauty, their essential contribution to the overall exhibition of your soul's journey. When you encounter a new shadow, a fresh challenge, resist the old reflex to immediately succumb to fear or despair. Instead, pause, breathe, remember the canvas, remember the artist. Ask me, what light are you intending to paint here? What beauty are you seeking to reveal through this contrast? This shift from fearful reaction to curious, trust-filled inquiry is a monumental step in learning to see my masterpiece unfold. It moves you from a position of victimhood to one of sacred studentship, learning directly from the master artist about the mysteries of creation. This new way of seeing will also free you from the burden of trying to fix or eliminate all shadows from your life, an impossible and exhausting task. Instead, your focus will shift to aligning yourself with my light, to becoming a clearer channel for it, trusting that as my light increases within you and flows through you, the shadows will naturally recede or be transformed or find their perfect place within the overall composition. It is not about fighting the darkness, but about radiating the light. Cherish the moments when this new vision dawns upon you, when you catch a glimpse of the larger pattern, when you feel a sense of awe at the intricate way I am weaving all things together for your ultimate good and my glory. These moments are precious affirmations. They are signs that your spiritual eyes are opening, that you are beginning to perceive the world and your own life with the clarity and wisdom that come from seeing through the lens of my love. The masterpiece is always unfolding. My child, learn to watch with wonder. My beloved child, as you cultivate these new eyes to see, as you learn to trust the divine artist at work upon the canvas of your life, a glorious transformation accelerates. The first tender hues, those initial touches of my light you began to perceive, now spread and intensify, merging and blending until the entire composition begins to radiate with a new and undeniable luminosity. This is the radiance revealed, the moment when your life, once seemingly dominated by shadows, becomes truly illuminated, not by the harsh glare of a superficial brilliance, but by the deep, resonant, and authentic light of my presence, defining and beautifying every aspect of your being and experience. Understand, my precious one, that this illumination is not necessarily about the complete eradication of every shadow. A world without any shadow would be flat, featureless, lacking the very definition that gives form and interest to creation. Rather, this revealed radiance is about my light becoming the dominant force, the primary interpreter, the defining power that imbues even the remaining shadows with new meaning, new purpose, and a profound, often unexpected, beauty. The shadows you once feared are now seen in their true context, not as malevolent entities seeking to consume you, but as integral parts of the masterpiece, providing the contrast, the depth, and the dramatic tension that make the light itself appear all the more glorious, all the more triumphant. Imagine a magnificent landscape at the peak of a sun-drenched day. The sun's light bathes everything in its golden glow, yet the mountains still cast their long, defining shadows. The trees still offer pools of cool shade. The deep valleys still hold their mysteries. But these shadows are no longer terrifying. They are part of the beauty, part of the majesty. They accentuate the brilliance of the sunlit peaks. They offer respite and perspective. They contribute to the overall grandeur of the scene. So it is with your illuminated life. My light now defines the landscape of your experience. The remaining shadows, if any, are no longer places of dread, but areas that highlight the resilience you have gained, the wisdom you have acquired, the compassion that has been etched into your soul through your journey. They become the rich, dark soil from which the most vibrant flowers of your spirit now bloom. What does this illuminated life feel like from within? My child, it is, first and foremost, a profound sense of inner harmony. The old wars between fear and hope, between despair and faith, begin to subside. A deep, abiding peace settles within you, a peace that has integrated the lessons of the shadows, a peace that is not fragile but resilient, capable of holding both joy and sorrow with equanimity. You no longer live in dread of the darkness, for you have seen my light emerge from it. And you know that my light is ultimately more powerful, more real. With this harmony comes a vibrant sense of purpose. You begin to see with clarity how your unique journey, including all its shadowed passages, has perfectly equipped you for the specific work I have called you to do. The unique song I have destined you to sing. The shadows you traverse have given you empathy for others still lost in darkness. The strengths you forge in your trials become the tools you now use to serve my light in the world. There's an immense joy in this alignment, a deep satisfaction in knowing that your life, in its entirety, has meaning, that even your deepest wounds have become sacred gateways for my love and healing to flow through you to others. This revealed radiance also manifests as an authentic and fearless self-expression. The mask you once wore, the parts of yourself you once hid in shame or fear, can now be gently laid aside. You feel safe to be who you truly are, to speak your truth with love, to share your unique gifts without apology or reservation. Your life becomes a transparent vessel for my light, and your interactions with the world are characterized by a new level of honesty, integrity, and joyful authenticity. This is not an arrogant display, but a humble and courageous willingness to let your God-given light shine, knowing that in doing so, you give others permission to do the same. Consider a stained glass window. It is composed of many pieces of colored glass, held together by dark lines of lead. In dim light, the lead lines may appear prominent, the colors muted. But when the sun shines through that window, it is transformed into a breathtaking spectacle of radiant light and vibrant color. The dark lead lines do not disappear. Rather, they become essential, defining the intricate patterns, making each individual hue shine with greater intensity. So it is with your life. The shadows of your past experiences, the lead lines of your trials, now serve to accentuate the beauty of my light as it shines through the unique stained glass window of your soul. The overall effect is one of stunning, multifaceted brilliance. In this illuminated life, you will find your capacity for love expanding beyond what you thought possible. Having known the desolation of perceived separation, your heart now treasures connection. Having experienced my unconditional love for you even in your darkest moments, you become a more generous and unconditional lover of others. The shadows of past hurts or more resentments lose their power to constrict your heart, as my light of forgiveness and compassion flows through you, healing not only your own wounds, but also creating bridges of understanding and reconciliation with others. The fear of the future, which once cast such a long shadow, also begins to dissipate. You learn to walk in faith, trusting the same divine artist who has so beautifully illuminated your past and present canvas will continue to guide your steps and provide for your needs. Your focus shifts from anxious anticipation of what might go wrong to a joyful expectation of the good that my love is always seeking to bring forth. This trust-filled surrender to my ongoing guidance is a hallmark of a life truly radiant with my presence. My child, this radiance revealed is not a static state of perfection, but a dynamic, ever-unfolding experience of my grace. There will still be moments of learning, moments of challenge, for the journey of growth continues. But you will meet these moments from a new place of strength, a new foundation of light. The shadows will no longer have the power to define your reality or extinguish your hope, for you will have learned to see them as part of the grand, unfolding masterpiece. Opportunities for my light to shine even more brightly, for my artistry to be revealed in even more profound ways. Your illuminated life becomes a beacon, a testament to the truth that the shadows we fear, or indeed merely the canvas for my light. Those who witness your transformation, who feel the warmth of your radiance, who are touched by the wisdom and compassion born of your journey, will be inspired to look for the light within their own shadowed experiences. Your life becomes my love letter to a hurting world, a living demonstration that hope is real, that healing is possible, and that my light is always, ultimately, victorious. Embrace this radiance, my beloved. Let it shine, for you are my masterpiece, and your life, illuminated, is a song of eternal hope. My beloved child, as the radiance of my light now fully illuminates the canvas of your life, transforming what was once shadowed and feared into a testament of beauty and grace. Let us speak of the eternal nature of this masterpiece. The light that now shines within you and through you is not a fleeting glimmer, not a temporary reprieve from the darkness. It is a beam from the very heart of my eternal being, an inexhaustible source that will never diminish, never fade, never be overcome, and the masterpiece that your life has become, with its intricate interplay of light and shadow, is not a fragile creation destined to crumble with time, but an everlasting testament to my redeeming love and my power to bring forth enduring beauty from even the deepest perceived darkness. The shadows you once feared, which served as a canvas for this divine artistry, have now found their true and lasting place within the composition. They are no longer omens of dread, but integral elements that give depth, meaning, and profound resonance to the light that now defines your existence. Just as the dark velvet upon which a diamond is displayed serves only to accentuate its brilliance, so too have your past shadows become the very backdrop that allows my light in you to shine with such captivating and undeniable splendor. This interplay is not a weakness in the design, but its very strength, its unique signature. Do not harbor any fear, my child, that this light might one day abandon you, or that the shadows could somehow reclaim their former dominance. The transformation that has occurred is not merely a change in circumstance, but a profound shift in your very essence, an awakening to the eternal truth of your being as a child of my light. You have learned to see with new eyes, to trust the divine artist, to recognize my hand, even in the dimness. This wisdom, this resilience, this capacity for love and faith forged in the crucible of your trials. These are now an indelible part of who you are. They are the luminous pigments that my spirit has infused into the very fabric of your soul, and they cannot be erased. My light is not like the flickering flame of a candle, susceptible to the winds of doubt or the storms of life. It is the light of the eternal sun, my sunlight, constant and unwavering, shining from within the very core of your being. Even if clouds of temporary challenge or moments of human frailty should pass across your sky, know that this inner sun never ceases to shine. Its source is infinite, its power absolute. You are anchored in this eternal light, and it is this light that now defines your reality. The masterpiece that your life has become is an everlasting artwork, displayed in the gallery of my creation for all eternity. It tells a story of courage, of resilience, of the transformative power of love. It speaks to other souls who may still be navigating their own shadow canvases, offering them hope, inspiration, and the profound assurance that they too are seen, loved, and destined for their own unique illumination. Your life, in its radiant truth, becomes a beacon, a living sermon, a testament that endures beyond the confines of time and space. This is not to say that your journey of growth and learning is over. Within this eternal light, there are infinite new vistas to explore, deeper levels of love to experience, greater expressions of your unique gifts to unfold. But you will navigate these future adventures from a new foundation, a foundation of unshakable peace, unwavering trust, and the radiant certainty of my abiding presence. The fear that once constricted your heart has been replaced by an expansive love, the dread by a joyful anticipation of the good that my hand will continue to bring forth. The shadows, when they appear in any life, for the earthly journey involves the experience of contrast, will no longer hold the same terror for you. You will see them for what they are: temporary obscurations, opportunities for my light to shine even more creatively, invitations to draw even more deeply from the wellspring of strength and wisdom that now resides within you. You have learned that I am the master artist who wastes nothing, who can incorporate every hue, every texture, every experience into a design of ultimate beauty and purpose. Rest in the certainty of this eternal light. My beloved, let it be your constant comfort, your unfailing guide, your deepest security. The masterpiece of your life is not something you must struggle to maintain or protect. It is held secure within the embrace of my everlasting love, preserved by my infinite power. Your part is simply to continue to live in this light, to allow it to flow through you, to express its beauty in your unique way, trusting that I'm always at work, adding new depths, new highlights, new subtleties to the ever-unfolding wonder of your being. The canvas that once seemed so dark and frightening is now a source of profound beauty and meaning, a testament to the alchemy of grace. The shadows have not been merely painted over, they have been transformed, integrated, made part of a story that glorifies not the darkness, but the invincible, eternal light that has redeemed it. This is my promise to you. Fulfilled and ever fulfilling, the shadows you feared were indeed merely the canvas. And upon that canvas, my light has painted an everlasting masterpiece of love, resilience, and radiant hope, your own illuminated soul. This masterpiece will never fade. This light will never fail. This love will hold you, always. As we draw these moments of communion to a gentle pause, my precious child, let the truth of my eternal light settle into the deepest sanctuary of your heart. The journey through the valley of shadows was real, and your courage in navigating its depths was a testament to the strength I instilled within you. You feared those shadows. Yes, for they seemed so vast, so consuming. But you have learned, and the world will see through you, that those very shadows were but the sacred space, the prepared canvas upon which my most tender and powerful artistry could be revealed. The dread has given way to a dawning understanding, the fear to a resilient faith. The first hesitant hues of my light have now blossomed into a steady, defining radiance that illuminates your path and warms your soul. This is not a fleeting illusion, but the enduring reality of your true nature, revealed and restored. You are a child of eternal light, and the masterpiece your life has become will shine on, an everlasting testament to a love that never fails, a light that darkness can never, ever overcome. Rest now in this illumination. Beloved, let its peace be your constant companion, its joy your quiet strength. The shadows have served their purpose, and the canvas of your life now glows with the indelible light of my eternal presence.